perfect way. You no longer exist, you're no longer.
Welcome to AfterMat, your source for WWE pay-per-view recaps. I'm your host, the People's Champ Cal, and alongside me as always, I have my tag team partner, the Glamazon Delisha. What's going on, Delisha?
Hello. Today was the Mondays of Mondays days of all Mondays, I think.
Yes, but it also
glad to be here, though.
Also puts us one step closer on the road to WrestleMania as we talk about the Elimination Chamber, the I guess second to last stop before WrestleMania, and I don't know. Elimination Chamber is usually a good event. I usually like that along with, like I said, Royal Rumble and Money in the Bank. Those gimmick matches are usually great. Of the gimmick matches that are not the original ones, like the newly made ones, kind of like Hell in a Cell and Money in the Bank, Elimination Chamber I think is probably my second favorite of the newer gimmick matches. Money in the Bank is probably my favorite, but I do enjoy a good Elimination Chamber match. And did it live up to the hype? Maybe, maybe not. We'll talk about it in a little while. I feel like I think the matches were probably great, but I feel like the outcomes of what happens after, I guess, were kind of like, well, one of them was up and one of them was down. I guess we'll talk about that later. But what did you think overall?
To be honest, I don't know how I feel. Like the pay-per-view definitely had some good points, but I don't. It's kind of like, okay, this is probably a bad analogy, but I'm gonna go with it anyway. It's kind of like rice cakes. Like, you ate them, you know that you sustained your body with nutrient, or with food, but you don't feel sustained, like full and energized.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Right now, that's kind of how I feel about it.
I think there's one thing that probably happened that made me like love the event, but we'll get to that later. But with that said, let's go ahead and get started. But first, we used to have Slaterman. Welcome, Slaterman, a good supporter of this channel. Make sure you check him out as well. So yeah, the first match of the night, neither of us really knew that was happening. I had no idea there was a pre-show match. Usually they just throw in a pre-show match, but I didn't even know this was a stipulation. But I guess whoever won this match was put into the triple threat for the U.S. Championship against Bobby Lashley and Matt Riddle. Apparently something happened with Keith Lee that they're saying, I guess, it's injury or something. I don't know. We were, I think we talked about it yesterday, but we don't really know the specifics. All we really need to know is that the what the hell is the Retribution interfered in the match with Ricochet. I don't really know what happened to Elias, but that ended up having John Morrison roll up Mustafa Ali while Ricochet was being bitten up by Retribution, and that's pretty much it. So now Morrison will get the U.S. title shot later in the evening. Well, that's awesome to hear, Slater, man. Then the first match to kick off, or the kickoff actual pay-per-view, was the number one contendership for the Universal title in an Elimination Chamber featuring Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, King Corbin, Sami Zayn, Daniel Bryan, and Cesaro. And I believe Felicia's covering this.
Yeah, I mean, this was kind of like a change of pace, because normally, for the most part, not 100. I don't know about 100% time, but it's normally for the. Oh, I was like, what was that? Oh, there was some noise in the background, guys, that I wasn't prepared to hear, and I thought I was going crazy. Well, I mean,
it was
not.
It was me vacuuming. It was nothing inappropriate.
No, oh no. Hopefully, I didn't mean to insinuate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, normally these chamber matches are for a title of some sort. But if you don't watch a lot of the weekly shows, or you fast forward them like some people do, you might have missed why this was for a championship, and I'll just simply put Roman Reigns refused to be in the chamber, because there was a loophole that said in his I guess Adam Pearce, yes, tried to get Roman Reigns in the chamber, but Paul Heyman interfered said his contract said he has to defend at Elimination Chamber, not that he had to be in the chamber. And I was like, oh, that's kind of nice change of pace. I wonder if any other champions might use that in the future, so to speak. I don't know if that was just in Roman Reigns' contract or if it's in the championship contract, so to speak, or I should say contracts, because obviously storyline. So that's how this match came to be, and a lot of these people had qualifying matches to be in the chamber. Yada yada yada. So we start off with Cesaro and Daniel Bryan, Cal's favorite wrestler. And I mean, they did what they did for the first 5 minutes. If you know anything about Daniel Bryan, if you know anything about Cesaro, you got a pretty cool, like, technical kind of match between the two. If you've seen any of their matches at all on SmackDown, it was pretty much a shortened 5-minute version of that. And then next out the gate, we had King Corbin, which I'm still not sure why we still call him King Corbin, but nonetheless, he was out next, and he began to be a little bit more dominant in the ring for him. These two working on Daniel Bryan's knees to keep him out of commission, and pretty much, yeah, like I said, being pretty dominant between those two. I guess given the fact that Cesaro and Daniel Bryan were kind of like beating the crap out of each other for the first 5 minutes. Corbin, being the fresher guy, gets that advantage. And then after that would be Sami Zayn, who basically was a punching bag for the most part of his tenure out of the pod. That's what they're called, pods, right?
Yep.
Eventually, he would find his way like near the top of the pod, and if you're seen these chair matches before, for the most part, it's probably going to be one of your big match spots, so to speak, for these chamber matches. He was going after Cesaro, and they would go back and forth in the pod. And I don't know what Zayn had attempted to do, but Cesaro would then kick him off, and then for the flex, start doing pull-ups on the chamber itself. Which, they keep calling Cesaro one of the strongest men in the locker room. And I mean, I can't do a pull-up, although I'm not athletic WWE superstar, but still, it's still cool to see, especially at that height as well. Because had he missed or dropped himself down, would not have been fun. And then after that, Cesaro went after Corbin, put him in the swing, and then after that, put him in a sharpshooter, which caused Corbin to tap out. And then next out of our pod at that point was KO himself, Mr. Kevin Owens, if you didn't know what that was. And he immediately went after Sami Zayn. If you know their history, they have a long history of being either friends or enemies. Always one of the two. They are kind of like our Bayley and Sasha male equivalent, to where either they're going to be on a tag team or going to be feuding with each other. But it was still fun to see if you know their history. And then we get everyone hitting their like big move spots. Well, the Helluva kicks. I don't know if KO had got the stunners on at that point, but pretty much everyone's in chaos. And by this time, we get Jay Uso. Still, even I see his name right there, and I still almost called him Jimmy. I don't know how. And Jey Uso comes out, and immediately, if you've been watching SmackDown, you would not be surprised that he went immediately after Kevin Owens, as KO is frequently going after Roman Reigns. So, of course, Uso, by proxy of being in the family, has to go after KO to avenge him being a pest into Reigns. And it was actually a really cool spot after after Zayn was eliminated by Owens, where because they have to open the door to let that person out. So as it was shutting, Uso pinned like his arm, KO's arm, through like the chamber doors, and then super kicks after super kicks. excuse me. I'm so sorry. I
Bless
just
you.
said right into the mic. I am so sorry, listeners. Thank you. And then after trapping his arm and doing the continuous super kicks, he will give him the Samoan splash, not a frog splash as it was called in the ring. And
On
getting
numerous
the
occasions,
pinfall
too.
over Owen. They look. I mean, I don't know how they get them too confused. I don't know.
The fact that they also call Sasha Banks' move
Especially-
a frog splash is terrible as well. So,
I mean, the difference between is hers is trying to be intended a frog splash, but this is anyway. We're not going to get into this discussion. Maybe later on when we're talking about her match. And then we also at this point we have Brian, Us, and Cesaro, I believe, as the final three, and we again with Uso pretty much laid out on the side for a little bit. Brian and Cesaro again keep going after each other. With Cesaro kind of going back to his knees, to Brian's knees, to as he worked on earlier, and then putting him in the swing, just holding on to the one bad leg. But then he was then super kicked by Us, and then another frog splash Samoan onto excuse me, onto Cesaro, and then eliminating him. So now we're down to Uso versus Daniel Bryan, which for a good they went out for a good while, but eventually we put Daniel Bryan back into the quote unquote underdog road, which he isn't anymore by a long shot. But he finally gets the pin over Uso with the running knees. And Daniel Bryan is your number one contender to go against Roman Reigns, which I thought would happen later in the night. But actually, if I was thinking about it and knew Roman Reigns, of course he would come out right now, as Daniel Bryan is in so much tiresome from being in a match. So Reigns comes out. We got our championship match going right after it. And maybe Bryan was playing possum, because when Reigns gets into the ring, Bryan puts him to the yes lock, and for a quick second you thought maybe for a second that he was going to tap, but no, he actually gets out of it, and then he's doing these punches and elbows, and then he puts Bryan into a guillotine choke. I think that's what that one was. And then I don't know, I can't remember if Bryan tapped out or the ref called it because he was like knocked out, but not really a surprise to anyone. Reigns returns and he's celebrating, ready to go back, and then here we go, Edge comes out of nowhere with the spear and points to the WrestleMania sign. So it wasn't stated yet that it was going to be Edge versus Reigns, but then they put it on Twitter maybe about 30 minutes after that it's officially going to be Edge versus Roman Reigns. So what do you think about the match itself and him retaining, and then also Edge officially going after Roman Reigns for WrestleMania?
well, first of all, I want to say that I think Daniel Bryan and Cesaro put out a great wrestling match in the beginning when they first came out. That's probably the only praise I'll probably give Daniel Bryan.
I was about to say, what is that praise?
I think I would like to attribute it more to Cesaro than to Daniel Bryan. Then Daniel Bryan winning was dumb, because obviously I wanted Cesaro to win. I've been saying that. You've been getting my text all night, well, at least up to that point, about how I wanted Cesaro to get a push and stuff, because I love Cesaro. I'm a big fan of the Bar as well, but even before it was the Bar, I love Cesaro and I love Sheamus individually. So when they got together, I was like, that's even better. So now them being individuals again, I was telling you I'd rather have seen Cesaro win, and then face maybe Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and again, or somehow get screwed out of it and face or win, and then Roman Reigns would ask for a rematch at WrestleMania. Whatever it was, whatever it is, I wanted Cesaro to win. Daniel Bryan won. Good thing he got squashed right away. That was great, because how else should Roman Reigns come out? That's the best opportunity for him to come out. That's why he did it. So he'd come out right after the match is over and he'd win. He'd have a good chance of beating up a beaten guy. I think the reason why he wasn't in it is probably because of COVID, right? Because his health already is, his health is already compromised, right? So because of COVID, he can't really put him into a cage with 5 other guys, 6 if you count the referee, as well as the referees surrounding the ring. So yeah, I think it was great that strategy, great like new feature that they added, like what you said, how he said he has to participate at the Elimination Chamber, but not in the Elimination Chamber. So that was great. I really rather have Cesaro in that. Edge coming out. All right, I love Edge. I'm a huge Edge head. I love Edge, but I'd rather have seen him face Drew. Well, at this point in the evening, I'd rather have seen him face Drew McIntyre because I want him to beat Drew McIntyre to be champion, and have Cesaro be champion, because Edge has the ability to change brands. As he's a Royal Rumble winner, he can choose any champion if it's that he wants. Cesaro can only stay, I guess, on SmackDown. This is SmackDown, right? So I guess he can only stay on SmackDown. So I was hoping Cesaro would get the push. Anyway, great to see that. Now we know Edge is going to be facing... It was actually, questionable, because like you said, he might come out later not in the evening and spear Drew. Even the referee, even the announcers weren't sure about it either. They're like, oh, should we... are we officially... Is it official? Is it official? And then eventually, like a little while later, after a promo package, they said it was official. So yeah, we got Roman versus Edge. If Edge does not win, we riot, I guess, right? Like CM Punk's Chicago victory, Money in the Bank. As much as Roman Reigns is doing a great job as a heel, I think it's... I don't know how... The only problem I can see is how much is Edge's... He says he's going full-time now, right? That's what he says on social media or whatever. And like dirt sheets or whatever it is. I hope he's full-time. I mean, but look at Brock, right? Brock wrestled like once every 5 years, which was great. I loved it as a heel. But Edge is supposed to be a face. So I love how Roman Reigns' character's evolved. If he does lose at WrestleMania, what happens then? What happens to the family, right? What happens to the head of the table? What is all that? What's the whole part of The Rock and all that? So, I don't know. I want to see how it goes from here. I don't think I've said that in a long time on this show. I've always said, like, oh, we'll see how it goes from here. I've always had, like, my own, like, this is how it's probably going to go, and I've had, like, my opinion. Now I don't really know, because I love Edge and I want to see him win, but then what happens to Roman Reigns' character, right? So that's why I say we'll see how it goes from here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if it wasn't for what happened at the end of the second chamber, I would have still wanted them to like hold out just a little bit more on who Edge was gonna go after, because I feel like it was a little bit more telegraphed, since he was showing up more on SmackDown than he was on Raw. At least more, he was more in Reigns' face on SmackDown than he was when talking to Drew. But if he like would have spirit them both, and we're like, oh well, wait, I thought we knew who's going for it. Nope, still don't know. I thought, because we still have one more pay-per-view to still build up to WrestleMania, because I think there's maybe 3, maybe 4 weeks between Fastlane and WrestleMania. So I kind of wish they would have played up just a little bit, to keep us guessing. And but like I said, if it wasn't for what happened in the second chamber, it was fine. And given also what happened right after with Daniel Bryan, I don't mind that Cesaro didn't win, because I feel like Daniel Bryan could take the loss. Cesaro really can't. Like, Daniel Bryan's Daniel Bryan, he can do whatever. Like, him losing does not hurt him whatsoever. Like, had it been Cesaro, you'd be like, oh man, we really want to see a match between Cesaro and Roman Reigns. So, because of for lack of a better term, for the squash to Daniel Bryan, I don't mind that Cesaro didn't win the championship.
Well, yeah, I didn't know.
Maybe that could be his opponent.
I didn't know it was gonna be a squash either, right? But yeah, Fastlane, maybe we'll see it, and if the only solace will come, if maybe Cesaro has a match. I don't want to see a triple threat match at WrestleMania, because we always get that when like something happens at Fastlane and there's no clear cut winner, so then they gotta throw them into the mix. That could happen.
We might be getting that with
if you see Cesaro versus Roman Reigns, but I don't think, like I said, I don't think with Roman Reigns they'll put more than the people they need in the ring because of his health. But if Edge does not win, the only solace I can get from that is maybe Cesaro's next in line. That's the only solace I'll get for if Edge loses at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you. And welcome to Mr. Speaker, who's joining us. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, so the next match for the Universal Championship, featuring the champion Bobby Lashley defending against Matt Riddle and a mystery contestant. Originally it was supposed to be Keith Lee, but as we know, he was removed from the match. And then the winner of the Fatal 4-Way in the pre-show, which happened to be Morrison, took over. Basically, Lashley dominated the match in the beginning. He just took out Riddle, then he took out, while Morrison watched on, then he took out Morrison, then he took them both out on the outside, destroyed them, then they decided, hey, let's team up against him. And it kind of worked for a second, but then Bobby Lashley came back, and then eventually they were able to, Riddle and Morrison were able to get the upper hand on Lashley and throw him out and do like a double team kind of move on the outside, where like Riddle like held the rope and Morrison jumped over and splashed. Whatever he did, he did something cool to the outside because he always does. It was like a suicide plancha, corkscrew plancha. I think that's what it was, a corkscrew plancha, corkscrew suicide plancha. I guess that's the appropriate term. Yeah, and then it came down to a match between Riddle and Morrison. That was a really good match. It was really well wrestled, as you would expect, because Riddle's an amazing wrestler. Morrison's extremely athletic. Went on for a while. You can kind of see Bobby. The worst part is that you can see Bobby Lashley in the background getting up and just watching it. Like, he didn't go back into the ring. But I guess maybe that's strategic. Well, no, is it strategic really? Because you could lose if you're the champion, you could lose the match while not being in the ring, right? So he probably should have got back in there, especially how dominant he was. But you could see him kind of like they were trying to play it off like he's like, oh, I'm hurt, but like he wasn't, Anyway, great wrestling match between Morrison and Riddle. Eventually, Lashley comes back and puts on the Hurt Lock. Which I think was on. Well, I think Morrison went to the outside while Riddle wrestled him inside. And Morrison was yelling at MVP. Took away MVP's crutch because MVP came out on a crutch. Was about to use it against Lashley. Lashley caught it, and then put Morrison in the Hurt Lock, which then left the crutch on the ground that caused Bobby Lashley to grab it and hit Riddle to catch it and hit Bobby Lashley with it. There was a great moment earlier prior to that with, like, I think the Starship Pain, as well as another move, whatever Matt Riddle does off the top rope or something like that. Lashley apparently got so hurt from that he had to slide. Thank you, Slater. Had to slide out of the ring. It was like so hurt, like ridiculously hurt, because he got hit like 4 times with the same crutch and ran out of the ring. It was just terrible. Like, he's jacked. He never gets hurt. He was such a powerhouse. To see him leave like that, I was like, oh man, that was kind of whack. That he kind of like left, and he left the ring for the rest of the match. And then it was just Riddle against Morrison inside, and Riddle hit, I think, the final flash, followed by another knee, followed by a Bro Derek, I think it's called, and went for the 1, 2, 3. And then as that's happening, you see Bobby Lashley run into the ring and slide in and try to break up the pin, but it's already too late. Matt Riddle is your new U.S. champion, which I thought was going to happen because I was saying maybe since he was resigning, he might have had that in the contract saying, if I'm resigning, I want to have a championship run, and so they gave him the U.S. champion. I really like Bobby Lashley. I think he's been doing really well. I really liked him when he first came to WWE back in the day. Then he sucked for a while, right? He was pretty awful. Then he came back, he was still pretty awful. But now in this Hurt business, I think he's really found his niche. And I think he's doing really well with the Hurt business because he's got a good mouthpiece in MVP, and he's just that powerhouse that you want to see, right? That's what I like to see about welcome Skye Inc. as well. It was just a lot to see him like lose in a kind of a. I mean, I guess it took a weapon, but it was a shoddy weapon at that. But Riddle's your champion. I don't know. How do you feel about Riddle winning now? I guess he's getting the push, but would I rather see Keith Lee win it? No, because I think Keith Lee had his chance as North American champion, and I think he's also NXT champion. I think it's Riddle's time now because I don't think he really got a spotlight in NXT. I'm not really a Riddle fan, but it's good to see him get the spotlight for a little bit. But yeah, your thoughts, Alicia?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would have obviously been rooting for Keith Lee had he been in this match, and I think both Riddle, maybe they ripped themselves into a corner because both Lee and Riddle kind of needed that kind of like title push. So that could also be the reason why they rid him off, because they was like, wait, we can't. No, I'm not giving them that credit. Never mind. That's too much detailed storyline writing. Anyway, I was kind of expecting Riddle to win because they've been kind of putting him on this like almost downslide with him and Lashley. Like Lashley was just always whooping his ass, honestly, in every match. So this is kind of like the redemption arc for Riddle finally being able to get the title off of Lashley. So I didn't mind that part. I just kind of wish that I knew Keith Lee wasn't. I mean, I guess I kind of just wish I was already in the mental mindset that Keith Lee was not going to be there, because they didn't announce that until Sunday. And we'll get into another announcement that they just didn't do for yesterday's match as well. But I am glad to see Riddle with the title. You can have a little fun with it. I've been watching some of his like older matches on the independent scene, and of course I was a fan of him when he. Well, I like you. I wasn't like a immediate fan of Matt Riddle. Actually, it wasn't until he won the tag team titles with Pete Dunne before COVID messed it up for all of us. Because he really got to have his personality shine. So hopefully they will let him run with it a little bit and not just be so scripted. Maybe he can shine in his own personality as well. Hopefully, but it's gonna be fun. And knowing what we know now at the end of the night, I think we have maybe somewhat of an idea of what's going to happen with some of these players.
All right, that brings us to the next match, which is for the Women's Tag Team Championships, featuring Women's Tag Team Champions Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax against the SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks and her teammate Bianca Belair.
Yes. So we have some better, I guess, women. I mean, say what you want about Nia Jax. She's still kind of the stronghold, so to speak. And with Shayna, as they won their titles last pay-per-view. So, and Bianca and Sasha are in a mix-up for maybe a singles titleship match at WrestleMania. We don't know yet. So it was going to be pretty cool to see how those two would interact as a tag team to maybe win the belts before WrestleMania. And they actually worked really well together early on in the match, and because as they got the jump on Nia for most of the early parts of the match, and including Belair giving Nia taunts for all that my whole related stuff that happened a few weeks ago or maybe just last week on Raw. Although I'm kind of tired of it already. But once Baszler got in, they made her look like a beast that she should always look like. Putting in the work onto Belair, even getting her into the confused clutch until she was able to pull Shayna over to her side of the ring so that things could get the tag. And then she hit her version of a frog splash that Cal thinks is way inferior to everyone else's. And almost got the near fall. And then we get another quick tag to Belair, who hit the KOD onto Baszler, but then Jax was able to break that up for after a near fall. And then we kind of hit the downside of the match to where we have Carmella Sommelier, Reginald, who comes into the ring and he gives Sasha a champagne bottle for whatever reason, but the referee sees it and, he's scolding Sasha, even though she's like, I wasn't going to use it and whatever. And with all this confusion and between Reginald the ref and Sasha, Jack's able to get in and hit the Samoan drop for her and Shayna to retain the title. This match had a chance to be maybe one of the matches of the night because of all the women involved, and because of bad storytelling. It just leaves a bad taste in your mouth because there was no reason for Reginald to be out there. I don't know what story they're building with this on SmackDown, but we could, if for Jax and for Jax and Baszler to retain, if you wanted to do a shenanigans way so we don't have a clear pinfall, there was a couple other ways we could have done it, and that didn't have to involve Reginald or whoever getting involved, making this look very messy, very sloppy. And I didn't think that Baszler and Jax were going to not win, because they've already announced the NXT Dusty Cup winners. Shout out to Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. They already kind of hyped up that match between Baszler and Jax that's coming up in next week. So it would have been very dumb to really get a good promo between those four women and then have them immediately lose the title belt. So then again, you can't put nothing past WWE this today with just flubbing storylines. But overall, I was with this match until the end, and now I hate it.
Yeah, I think WWE needs to hire me or something for the writing. I think I'd do a better job. Just for the idea of shooting
We've
her
been
out.
saying
They
this
can watch the show and just take my ideas, but give me like $1 or something. More than that, maybe. Give us tickets to every show.
The estate sale price.
Yeah.
The auction price.
But yeah, I think actually this match, like you said, started out very well because it actually showcased Belair in a very good way. She looked amazing in the ring, as she is, right? She's a great superstar. She's a great athlete. She's amazing. She's not, I don't know if she's the EST, but yeah, she's amazing at what she does in the ring. Like, I think she is the best, from what I've seen, women's wrestler right now, other than Charlotte, because Charlotte is just, I hate Charlotte, but I don't want to give her any credit. But yeah, Bianca Belair is probably the best female wrestler we have in the WWE. I can't speak for NXT, but yeah, in the WWE she is. So she looked very good in the ring. The one drawback I always say is I hate her hair, man. I hate her hair. That is a downfall waiting to happen. The Rock is the championship. He doesn't even have to own it. He is the belt. His face is there. You can only see that at a certain angle. But yeah, the hair, they gotta get rid of that hair, man. Like, because that is a tactical disadvantage. I know she uses it as a weapon and stuff, but if you think about it, in war or anything like that, you never want long hair because it can be used against you. So I think that, I know all the women have, like, long hair, but, like, this hair is abnormally long in a way that can just be pulled easily because it's like a rope. It could be used as a rope, right? That's what it is, basically. Her hair is a rope. That's why I think it's a good gimmick for her, but I don't like it as a gimmick for a wrestler. Okay, anyway, so she looked amazing in the ring. Sasha looked amazing in the ring. Nia didn't kill anyone, so that's good. And Shayna looked strong. That was great to see Shayna looking strong. She didn't look bad at all. She wrestled well. She did good submissions. She did good counters and stuff and reversals. She looked really, really good in the ring. So that was, for once, Shayna did not look bad. And the best we can say about Nia is that she didn't kill anybody, right? She didn't hurt anybody. Everyone's good for WrestleMania. So, yeah, hopefully. But the end.
I don't think so, Skye, because she started out as a heel with that hair and using it way more. Actually, I mean, I don't know if they'll do this with her storyline wise. Like on the SmackDown, or I guess I mean I know they're supposed to be on equal playing field, so we don't really call them the main roster anymore. But for lack of a better term, the main roster, like when she was in NXT, when she meant business, she would like tie it up in a bun, and that's when you knew she was serious.
How does this
like when she had matches with Shayna Baszler before she got called up, so to speak, she would do that as well. But just like little, you know me, I love those little bits of in-ring storytelling.
How does it even stay on? That's what I want to know. Like, do they like glue it on, or like it's like the
Black Girl Magic? Black Girl
clips?
Magic. That's what it is. Girl Magic.
I'm gonna rip it off when I go. If I go in person, I'm ripping that off her head as she walks down the thing. I'm like, this is a bad. It's a bad tactical move. I'm doing you a favor by taking this hair out.
Pulled multiple times in matches and it's not come out. So I said,
it's got to be anyway. We're getting away from the point. She looked great in the ring. She did well. Sasha looked strong in the ring. I think the ending is where it felt. I agree with you. Why bring this guy out if he's Carmella Sommelier? Why is he out there? You know, maybe he has a crush on Sasha, whatever. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's stupid. It made a bad ending. You know, they could have had a double countdown or something, where they just fought so hard with each other outside the ring, or they just kept fighting with each other inside the ring, like just kept fighting. The referee's like, stop, trying to get them out of the ring, and then just calls for double disqualification or something like that.
Or they could have done like, I guess, the classic one where, you know, the unreluctant tag teams, the ones going for the title and the number one contender, like had either Sasha or Bianca be thrown into one of them and then either Shayna or Nia get the win like that.
Overused.
I know, but I would like that still.
It makes one of them look weak before WrestleMania, right? And I know the ending that made one of them look weak, but what I was suggesting is ways that nobody looked weak, you know, going into WrestleMania. The two champions are going to an important match, the Dusty Rhodes Classic, and Sasha and Bianca are going into an important match going to WrestleMania. Supposedly going, you know, they're going to fight each other at WrestleMania. So this way, they all look strong. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I hope for. That did not happen. So we got a terrible ending, but at least Nia and Shayna retained the championship. Any other thoughts?
I hated it.
Yeah,
no,
I hated it too. All right, there was supposed to be a match in between this. Both myself and Alicia were extremely shocked that it did not happen. Because we thought it was going to happen last. So I was like, oh, maybe Rousey will come out. And then, much to my chagrin, Delisha told me that the match is canceled. So, with that said, I went to look it up. And it turns out Lacey Evans is pregnant. So, congratulations to Lacey Evans. Congratulations to Nature Boy for being the father, most likely. So Lacey Evans and Nature Boy are having a baby. And that's what's going to happen for the future storytelling line. Mark my words. The final match of the evening was also an Elimination Chamber match featuring...
actually pregnant, right?
What?
She's actually pregnant. Not by, in real life. That's why. For real.
I know. By Nature Boy Ric Flair. I said it. I'm telling you guys right now. This is breaking news here on AfterMat.
But you know what? The only... congrats to Lacey. I'm kind of glad that we don't have Lacey versus Asuka versus somehow Charlotte Flair and Ric Flair, because of course they would have gotten involved. Because that was a match I was not going to be looking forward to unless Asuka squashed it.
Now Lacey and Lacey and Nature Boy's baby's going to sit on Lacey's head. So now it's going to be an even match because she got some of that Nature Boy DNA with her to beat Charlotte. That's the only way they can beat Charlotte. But okay, the main event.
So in a way, we got saved from seeing that. But WWE do better.
The watch the one storyline they take from me is that storyline right there. Anyway, the main event of the evening was
my biggest gripe though is because you had a whole week and a half, maybe two, to find another opponent for Asuka, but yet we can replace Keith Lee in a day. So there you go. That just pissed me off so much. Sorry.
I don't know what to tell you. What pissed me off at the beginning of this match, we'll get to in a second. Because there's the the WWE Championship match in an Elimination Chamber featuring the WWE Champion, Drew McIntyre, against Randy Orton, against who I didn't even know was in this match, against AJ Styles, who I didn't even know was in this match, against Jeff Hardy, who I didn't even know was in this match, against Sheamus, who I actually knew was in this match, against Kofi Kingston, who I didn't know who was in this match. And worst of all, Kofi Kingston as much as I love everyone knows I love Kofi, as much as I love seeing Kofi in the match, why did Miz give him a spot? Okay, Delisha explained to me. She gave, because I don't, I watch them fast forward unless Alexa Bliss is on TV, or Miz, or someone like The Rock, people I like. Miz gave him a spot so John Morrison can have it. Why would you give up 2 title shots? No! Your whole point of you doing this is to be a WWE champion. Why give him a spot? What would be even cooler is if a cool storyline is if you're the first ever WWE champion holding a Money in the Bank with you. So maybe you can go win another championship and hold 2 at one time. That'd be awesome, right? Wow, now they're going to steal that idea too. Anyway.
They could have sold the tag team championships.
Yeah.
Anything. It just says you get a championship match.
Yeah.
Say what?
So, Miz should have stayed in this match to give him an extra opportunity to win the championship. But whatever. I love Kofi, so that's cool to see him in there. So the match starts with people I didn't know that were in the match, because I didn't know half the people in the match except for Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy. I don't know why Jeff Hardy still exists. He's in the ring. Randy Orton and him fight. No one really cares because nobody likes Jeff Hardy. Randy Orton did a great job. We love Randy Orton. He did a great job. Then
I don't have nothing right now.
And then Kofi comes in. Kofi does an awesome job as well. Great wrestling between, kind of revitalizing the storyline between, maybe it might have revitalized the storyline, but revitalized the feud that they had between Randy Orton and Kofi Kingston. That was cool to see. Jeff Hardy, you know what? Why do we throw Jeff Hardy in these matches? To do cool stuff. Did he do anything cool? Not really, because he's trash. He was probably drunk when he came to the ring, because he had to hit Sheamus on the way to the arena. He hit Sheamus, right? Yeah, right? A few months ago he hit Sheamus? Felicia, yes?
He didn't really.
He hit Sheamus. So, a few weeks ago, he hit Sheamus. He also hit Sheamus on the way to the ring this week, because he was probably drunk when he got to the Elimination Chamber. But he's at home behind bars, so that was fine. He was in a chamber, just like when he's in a jail cell for DUIs. Anyway, Kofi and Randy Orton started going at it, and eventually Kofi rolls up Randy Orton, which is cool to see. Maybe starting reigniting the feud between the two. Randy Orton's gone, but before he leaves, he RKOs like everyone in the ring, which causes AJ to be like, let me in. Why would you go into the ring early? That makes no sense. But how do they do it? They have Amos break open the Elimination Chamber from the outside to let AJ go down and around and come in while Randy Orton's going out. No sense. However, one good thing came out of this, and I'll get to that in a second. Why do you go in early? Makes no sense. I got see because he thought he can get pins. Keep in mind that was the same chamber that I think broke earlier and landed on the referee, Lady Jess ref. Welcome, Arrington. So that was the same chamber that broke. So you knew that was going to give way later on, or that was a bad spot that happened early than it should have. Anyway, AJ goes in, tries to get a pin on Jeff Hardy as well as Kofi. Does not happen. They all start going at it. Then the one cool thing I had to say about that is I texted Alicia saying, will Sheamus come in early? Oh, wait. I think Drew was the next guy. Sorry, Drew already came in the ring. Drew was in the ring at this point, too. I forgot about Drew. He's in this match as well. Duh, because he's defending his title. He was fighting somewhere, doing something. As you can see, I was really excited about Kofi and Randy and those guys I like, and AJ. I was really hoping for AJ to win, but, that was probably not going to happen. Anyway, Paige for the future Raw Women's Champion. I agree. If Daniel Bryan and Edge can come back, why not Paige, right? Anyway, if Paige comes back, Nia Jax's going to injure her in a minute anyway. It's okay. So Drew, everyone's up down the ground. AJ tries to take advantage, does not take advantage. The one cool thing is I texted Alicia, I'm like, well, does this mean Sheamus has to come in within 5 minutes of AJ coming in, or is it going to be the legitimate time that should have elapsed before Sheamus comes in? And to the fact, it was the time that should have been anyway for Sheamus to come in. So I'm glad that WWE stuck by that. They did not penalize Sheamus. So that was cool. Eventually Sheamus gets into the ring. I don't know who went out in what order, because I was really just excited to see, Sheamus get into the ring. Anyway, when Sheamus got in, him and McIntyre started trading. The one thing that I forgot to mention is that Amos was ejected because of that stupid move. I don't know, that's kind of stupid anyway. McIntyre and Sheamus went at it. It was really cool to see. That's what I was saying. I would love to see them fight at WrestleMania together, which may or may not happen. We'll get to that in a little while. Kingston then started doing stuff, and they set up the Tower of Doom, as they call it, where I think it's AJ and what's the other guy? Jeff Hardy powerbombing Drew, who was suplexing Sheamus. While they did that, Kofi should have came and did the spear or something to bring Sheamus down, but he didn't do that because then he ended up doing a trust fall onto them. After that happened, Kofi started to go for more crazier moves. He went for another splash or something, and when he did that, Sheamus hit Kofi with a bro kick and eliminated him 1, 2, 3. Hardy then started doing twist of fates on everyone, and then he did a whisper in the wind. He was supposed to do a swanton onto AJ Styles from the top of the pod, but AJ rolled out of the way, so he did a whisper in the wind to Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. After he got up, Sheamus bro kicked him and eliminated Drew McIntyre. And eliminated Jeff Hardy. Then Sheamus started destroying AJ Styles, and he went for another. I think he went for another bro kick or something, but McIntyre caught him with a future shock DDT and then hit a Claymore. He went for a Claymore, but was hit with a bro kick. Styles went to hit Sheamus with a phenomenal forearm, but was hit with a he countered the what do you call it? Phenomenal forearm with a Claymore. Wait, did I forget how Styles hit the phenomenal forearm on Sheamus and eliminated him, and then he went for another one on Drew, and Drew hit the Claymore midair and eliminated AJ Styles. So at that point, Drew McIntyre is still your champion of Elimination Chamber. So what do you think of the match, Alicia?
Oh, I realized I was muted. I thought it was pretty entertaining for the most part. Like you, I have no idea why AJ got out of his pod early or maybe it was I have a feeling that it was supposed to go maybe a little bit differently. I think Orton was supposed to be already like maybe up the ramp so it didn't have to like interact and have that stupid stare off. I don't know, because for a second I thought Randy Orton was just gonna RKO AJ or whatever, but that didn't happen. So it kind of looked dumb on AJ's part when also he didn't eliminate anyone. And now he's in the ring earlier than he needed to be, having to face off these other few guys. But yeah, I thought that it was good. The right person won. I mean, I feel like with both of these championship matches, even though I know Reigns wasn't the championship match in the chamber, but we got it right after. Anyway, I don't think anyone really went out of Elimination Chamber thinking that Drew wasn't going to win and that Reigns was not going to retain. So it was kind of like, yeah, I kind of know it's going to happen, but let's see how we get there.
Yeah, I thought maybe Sheamus would have a chance, and then we could have, like, I think you and I talked about this earlier. If Sheamus won, Drew would chase and get his pop that you said, because there's another live crowd. That would have been cool to see, because I love seeing Sheamus do well. Like I said, Sheamus and Cesaro, I love them. Edge, Kofi, Randy, AJ. Everyone, I love everyone in this match except for Jeff Hardy, because no one likes Jeff Hardy. Anyway.
Because you are a fool.
No, it's true. And then, as Drew gets to celebrate, what happens? The cage enters. The cage lifts, and
now enters the match.
Yeah, the cage played by The Rock. Bobby Lashley comes out for some reason and beats the living hell out of Drew McIntyre for some odd reason. Apparently, in the pre-show, they said that MVP was talking to Miz earlier on. I don't know how they would set up a deal.
It was on the pre-show. I think this happened during the actual.
Well, then I happened to go away to like get ready for school the next day. I guess I don't know. Whatever it was, I missed it. Why do this? Why help him out? I don't know. Maybe there's some stuff we'll find out tonight on Raw. Why he helped him out? Maybe he promised a title shot to Bobby Lashley or something, or I don't know what it is. But I'm sure we're gonna see Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre at Fastlane. That's probably what we're gonna see.
Quick question.
Yeah.
When we were talking about Bad Bunny, was that during the main show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Bobby Lashley talking to Miz was during the main show too, because it fits in with something else.
Okay. Anyway, Bobby Lashley beats the living hell out of Drew McIntyre, and then Miz's music hits. He runs out, and I hate this new. I don't know when they start. I think I complain about this every time the Money in the Bank is cashed in. When Edge cashed in the Money in the Bank, first ever time, I'm pretty sure he just came in after, much like it was on New Year's Resolution, I believe, or is it called New Year's Revolution? John Cena just ended up defending against 5 other men. I think all odds were stacked against John Cena that night because they put him in first, I think, and he had to stay in the whole time, and he did.
Wasn't it?
What?
Wasn't it a chamber match? Or
no, it was chamber match. That's what I'm saying. He was put first in the chamber. Like, not first, as in, like, he had to start wrestling from the beginning of the chamber match. Last the entire chamber match, outlast everyone else. He ended up winning, and he thought, wow, what an accomplishment. It's the first person ever to win an entire chamber match from the beginning. And You Think You Know Me hits. Edge comes out and catches in his first ever the first ever Money in the Bank. Instead of going to the referee, he uses a Vince McMahon, runs out of the ring, hits the spear, and then wins the match. It wasn't like, oh, John Cena, are you ready? No. That's why he was deemed the ultimate opportunist, because he came in when he had the best opportunity, didn't give him a chance, boom, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, he is a champion. So I hate how now it's like, let them get up. Are they on their feet? Are they ready? What if they say I'm not ready? No, I'm not ready, ref. Give me another hour. Actually, give me a week. I'll see you. Actually, give me till WrestleMania. I'll see you at WrestleMania. I'll feel better at WrestleMania. No. Why? Why are the ref asking them? No. I just lay on the ground for until WrestleMania, and then now I'm ready. It makes no sense. If it's a Money in the Bank cash-in, you went through such hardship to win that. That should be used anywhere, anytime, whatever. No, don't ask the guy if he's ready or not, or the lady if he's ready or not. Anyway, they ask him if he's ready. He gets up. I think he hit what? He hit like the DDT, one for the pin, 1-2 kick out. Drew's not gonna go down that easily. Gets him back up. Hits the skull crushing finale. Then 1, 2, 3. We have a new champion, and The Miz is your WWE champion. I was ecstatic. I couldn't even type the word yes to Delisha when I was texting her. Yes. Maybe because I don't like Daniel Bryan, so I don't want to give him trademark copyright stuff. So I just went yaga blah over and over because I was so happy. It was also way past my bedtime, but I was excited because I love The Miz, and it was awesome to see him win. Well deserved. If Drew had to lose to somebody that wasn't Sheamus, that wasn't Randy Orton, well, I didn't want Randy Orton to win, but if it wasn't Sheamus, wasn't Kofi, wasn't AJ Styles, I'm glad it was The Miz. This was great to see. The second time tonight, I would say we're to see how this goes, because for me, the 2 championship pictures are so up in the air. I have no idea what's going to happen, because for the first time ever, and it's exciting, right? It's exciting as long as no one spoils WrestleMania, because it's probably going to be pre-taped because it's a 2-night event. Actually, wait, is it going to be 2-night event? I mean, I know it's a 2-night event, but is it going to be pre-taped? I don't know. I mean, I know there's going to be a live audience. We know that
was that confirmed? I don't know if that's been confirmed.
I think it's gonna be a 2-night event with a live audience. However, they could have them come early in the day, and tape it. So we don't know if it's gonna be pre-taped or not. Because to work like some of the magic, like the Undertaker's Boneyard match, like the Bray Wyatt kind of funhouse thing, to have the Alexa Bliss and stuff, they kind of need to pre-tape some of that, right? So how would they do that with a live audience? That's the question.
Well, I feel like if they get the green light from whoever they need the green light from, that they can have live audience, I don't think that we will have any of those pre-tape matches, because it was like, oh, we have somewhat of our audience back. So, which is what WrestleMania is truly all about.
Right. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how the 2 WWE title.
Unless they're only there for one night and then the next night they have some pre-tape.
Yeah, because also would they buy 2 tickets? Like, I don't know. It's also because if you think about it, the WWE pay per view usually WrestleMania lasts about 7 hours, 8 hours. So I guess that would count for 2 nights worth a 4 and 4 or something like that. I don't know. Let's not worry about WrestleMania now. Let's talk about what we have to do. Well, first of all, let me see how to entertain. I'm really excited for once for both. It's not a clear cut of how things are going to turn out, right? When Kofi Mania happened, you most likely thought Kofi's going to win. When Drew won the Royal Rumble, you're like, oh, Drew's going to win. Stuff like that. You knew people were going to end up winning their respective matches. It is. I have no idea. First of all, I have no idea where the WWE titles picture is going to go. We're probably going to figure it out now because Raw is happening concurrently with our show. But and Miz, I read was tweeted out that Miz is starting off Raw. So that's that. We'll find out. Maybe, like I said, maybe Bobby Lashley will face Drew McIntyre, and the winner of that will get maybe. Miz will be like, okay, Drew, if I win, Bobby Lashley gets a number 1 title shot, right? Number 1 contendership for his help. But then,
there's a deal going on.
In the back of his head, he knows that can't happen because Roman's got to. Oh, no, sorry, not Roman. Drew's got to have a chance at it, right? So he'll be like, here, I got an idea. How about you guys fight at Fastlane, and whoever wins, then will face me at WrestleMania. And I think that's how he could plot it out, and the WWE could write it out to make it more simple. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how this is going to work out. I don't know how Edge is going to work out because I really want to see Cesaro get his push. Will Edge win? Most likely, right? Most likely. But if he doesn't, like I said earlier in the show, if he doesn't, the only solace I will get for him not winning, because like I said, if he wins, that really hurts Roman Reigns' character and kind of heel run things have been going on. It's been happening for a while, but he's been really good at it, right, with Heyman. So if he does win, that's going to ruin that, stop that cold. If he doesn't win, the only solace
on how, it could, because, Edge could still win cleanly, but it could be like maybe Jay is coming out to try to help him, but he winds up just getting in the way, and then that's how Reigns loses his title. Or I don't know, because this is I think I don't know if I said it to you or Joe. I do think that Reigns versus Edge is the more
it's a more marquee match,
eye-catching match than what we would have thought of Edge versus Drew. But because like you said, we kind of have Roman going on this like heel phenomenon. But I think even Reigns is still strong enough to take a loss if he does, especially if it's because his quote unquote family got involved or whatever. Or maybe Heyman somehow causes him, not in an intentional way, but
maybe
I don't know.
Maybe an Edge heel turn. Well, no, maybe all right. So there's two things. If Edge loses, right? If Edge loses, the only way I'll find solace is if Cesaro gets the next push, and ends up winning. But Cesaro should get like a Kofi Mania kind of thing because Cesaro's worked really hard. He's done everything the company's wanted. He hasn't left. He hasn't turned tail. He's always taken bump. He's always taken the hardest stuff that he had to do. He's always taken all the losses. So I feel like he should eventually get a Kofi Mania moment. Can he get it this year? No, he's going to have to wait a whole another year. And I don't want to see him win at SummerSlam. It's not the same as WrestleMania, right? It's a big four, but it's not the same. However, if Edge wins, maybe he could win via an Austin-type heel turn. Where, when much like WrestleMania, was it 15, I think it was? Or 17, where The Rock went in as the heel, Stone Cold went as the face, Stone Cold ended up turning on The Rock, and double switch, The Rock became a face because Stone Cold ended up teaming up with Vince McMahon, which you never thought would happen. And so if Edge ends up teaming with Heyman, becoming a Heyman guy, to screw over Roman Reigns, like a double turn, that would be a cool, because we haven't seen that since WrestleMania 17 in a way. So that's what WrestleMania is this? 37, 20 years? I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying these are the things I would accept.
Yeah. See, that's the tricky part that you have with Reigns versus Edge, is that both of them kind of... Well, technically Edge doesn't need the win because he's at that status where he's kind of like surpassed needing titles because he is that legend status. But kind of Reigns is too, not in the legendary status yet, but he's kind of like almost a little bit above the title. But this is the writing conundrum. But this is what also makes it fun, because now we kind of don't know who's going to come out the winner, which is the fun part about wrestling in general, not just WrestleMania. But I'm excited that we are actually excited for WrestleMania. Well, and the card's only not even a third away, like kind of written out and stuff. So
and plus,
we still have matches to come.
Edge never lost the championship. He had to relinquish it due to health, right? Medical reasons. So much like Roman did, right? And Roman ended up coming back and winning it. So if you think about it, Edge's kind of due for that as well. But
yeah,
I don't know why we're talking about that match when we have The Miz. The Miz is the champion. Great to see. I can't wait to go watch him on Raw and see what he says.
Yeah, I want him to keep that until Mania, for sure.
Now, will he switch the belt so it's upside down and it's the M?
I don't know. Could be. But I am happy for him. I know people were like hating on it on Twitter, but they're just haters and losers when The Miz is the winner.
Like I said, a guy who shows up, great work ethic and all that. I love it.
For sure.
All right.
Oh, and I was asking about Bad Bunny because if you were paying attention, since Bad Bunny is the 24/7 champion, because I don't know what Miz asked him, and he goes, "Who are you?" He goes, "I'm 24/7 champion. You have nothing. Who are you?"
No, they asked why are you here? He goes, "Because I'm the 21st champion. Are you a champion?" Okay. Yeah, that's what he said.
And then now Bad Bunny has to eat his words because now Miz is a champion.
I think that's.
I know you don't like Bad Bunny because you don't know who he is, but I think he's been doing pretty well, and it has gotten more eyes on Raw because he is there. Hey, business standpoint, great. He's not overly involved in the matches. He's just kind of like on the outskirts. We have Damian Priest, who was the latest NXT call up, not being immediately like not giving something to do. He's got something to do. It's not necessarily in title contention, so we don't have to worry about him like being, put off to the wayside. It's like a nice little mix because it's just come on guys, it's just a 24/7 champion. It's not like it was just prestigious belt. It's a comedy sort.
But now it's going to interfere.
Said,
now it's going to interfere with Miz, though. I know it's going to come back to interfere with Miz, and I'm going to hate it.
Oh yeah, they're probably going to have a match at Fastlane, involving. But again, it's going to be involving Damian Priest and Bad Bunny of some sort. Whatever. Right now, I am enjoying it because it's not overtly in the way, and I also like that Bad Bunny is a legit wrestling fan, so he kind of gets it. So it's not like just some celebrity they pulled off the street to boost in ratings. He's like legit.
He's probably a Daniel Bryan fan, and no one likes Daniel Bryan. So, all right. With that said, let's go to our finishers. Delisha, your low point, your high point, and your overall grade.
Low point is not having an Oscar match that they could have definitely written in here because this pay-per-view ended at like 9:26. So we had the time.
That's great for me. I go to bed. I don't have the time.
Okay, yes, but still, don't tell me I'm getting 2 women's matches and then you pull one off the card with no explanation whatsoever. So that's my low point, is that I didn't get my second women's match that I wanted. High point, if it's not the Miz winning the championship, then why are we both on this show? But yeah, that has to be the high point because it wasn't really expected, honestly. But so I'm happy for that. And overall grade, like, I'm gonna give it maybe like a B-, to where we had like some pretty good matches in there, and for the most part it was entertaining. But like I said, I still left like feeling not sustained. So I'm gonna give it a B-. So they're still passing, but they still got some work that they can be working on for the next report card.
Okay. So for me, I'm going to give the low point to the finish of the Sasha or the women's tag team match, because that was dumb. Why have that? I just wrote a better ending in like 5 seconds. I wrote 2 better endings in 5 seconds. High point obviously has to be the Miz winning, because I love seeing the Miz win. An overall grade, I'm going to give it an A, because I really enjoyed this. I don't think there's any bad matches, maybe bad endings and stuff, but I think what we saw in this pay-per-view was great wrestling throughout every match. I can't say there was one match that had bad wrestling. I know there's a few sloppy points, and I called them out to you when I texted you last night, but wrestling-wise, I think they had a solid roster of wrestlers on that card that we've seen in a long time. And remember, when I say, usually what one does get sloppy, when they throw more than 2 people in the ring, right? Because it's too much going on here and there. So, but think about it. We had 2 Elimination Chamber matches, which involved 6 to 7 or 8 people if there's more people coming out after the match. We had a tag team match, right? We had a triple threat match. So we had a lot of multi-people matches, multi-person matches. Was there a singles match in the ring? And was there even a singles match? We had a fatal 4 at the beginning of the night.
It was supposed to be Asuka, okay? That's what it was supposed to be, a singles match.
Well, we had singles matches when Miz fought Drew McIntyre and when Roman Reigns fought Daniel Bryan. But I meant like on the official card. Okay, so with all that like hubbub going on, there was a very, very cleanly wrestled match. So that's why I'd have to give it an A, because it was just very well wrestled. Besides some 1 or 2 bad spots where mess ups happened, I think it was just very well wrestled, and Miz won. So you have to get an A for awesome, because that was great. And seeing Miz win was the best. All right. With that said, Delisha, where can we find you? And you have anything up?
Yes, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DelishaReneeTV. You can find me posting YouTube videos every Saturday. I think that's my official day now. Of mostly recipes, but also some health and lifestyle videos as well. And you can always find me here when me and Cal get to talk about Westland. And I want to let you guys know that we will have an AfterTalk coming up. In case you were living under a rock, or maybe don't live in the U.S. Our correspondent for AfterTalk, Nikki, she lives in Texas, which was facing huge storms over the past week as we were trying to put together our next show, but she lost power, and so I didn't want to bombard her with like text and messages. I needed her to reserve her cell phone and computer power so that she could deal with actual emergencies and not worry about putting the show together. But we shall have, by the next pay-per-view, you should know when that next after talk.
All right. And as for me, like you'll see me in the next review. Like I said, I'm staying away from streaming for a while. Like I said, I got school going on, family issues going on with many deaths we had recently due to COVID as well as other reasons. But yeah, I'll be doing AfterMat and AfterTalk whenever we have the AfterTalk. But the next time we'll see us on AfterMat is on the pay-per-view Fastlane, which was which will be March 21st. So the AfterMat will be the Monday following. And like I always make these announcements, then the card subject date changes somehow right after the show ends. So, but most likely March 22nd is the day we'll be having the AfterMat for Fastlane, which is one of the worst pay-per-view names ever. And usually I give an F for Fastlane because it's terrible. But hopefully this year's will be better. We don't know. But until then, guys, make sure you keep slamming the haters and be the champion of your dreams. We'll see you next time.
Night, guys.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. On we'll go, finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest, echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on